Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Overwatch In Depth. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing Zenyatta, and I'm going to try my absolute best to not make ball, nut, or any other assorted testicle joke, but it is almost certainly going to happen at some point during this episode. Zenyatta is one of the characters that I main. Alternatively, I primarily play Soldier, but my fallback go-to healer is pretty much always Zenyatta, so I do know a good bit about this guy, and hopefully the episode is useful to you. He has a base health of 50 and a base shield of 150. Meaning that his overall health is 200. However, 150% of it will regenerate, and most of the time that you get below 50 health, somebody's going to kill you anyway, so I tend not to think about it and just assume that he has regenerating health. Unfortunately, Zenyatta has the slowest base movement speed of any hero. He is an extremely slow character, especially for a healer, which means that positioning is going to be key. It's going to be essential to your survival. Of course, you want to stay in the back lines. You don't want to do frontline tank Zenyatta, and unlike most of the other heroes, he has no special movement abilities or escape tools aside from his ultimate, so getting out of position means that you will die. Zenyatta is incredibly strong in the right place, but he's completely worthless when he's out of place. The orbs that Zenyatta throws are called Orbs of Destruction, and they deal 46 damage each. They can be fired at 150 rounds per minute, which doesn't look very impressive. That's not a lot of damage, and it's a pretty slow rate of fire, yet Zenyatta's known as the alt DPS support, or somebody that can actually kill you if you're not careful. However, there's a lot more to this going on that we'll talk about later. The Orb Volley, which you can do with your alternate fire if you charge them up, will actually fire at a significantly faster rate of 240 rounds per minute. However, you can only fire 5 orbs at a time. I tend to find this to be a little bit fluky and difficult to aim and track as easily. I don't use the Orb Volley very much. I don't see very many high elo players use it. I mostly use the Orb Volley with corner checking. I charge it when I expect somebody to come around the corner, when I just want to dump a bunch real quick and run off. Corner checking with Orb Volley is great. Depending on it as a primary source of DPS is pretty terrible. One good thing about the orbs is that they can headshot for double damage, meaning that you'll do 92 damage per shot if you get headshots. Unfortunately, they have a slow reload time of 2 seconds. Most of the other weapons in Overwatch reload much faster than this, so you do have a good bit of downtime when you run out, but you do have 20 of them. Now, the good thing about the orbs is that they stack with the Discord Orb. The Discord Orb will increase damage by 30% on the target that you put it on from all sources. So if you shoot them, it's 30% bonus damage. If they get shot by your teammates, it's 30% bonus damage. If they hit themselves, it's 30% bonus damage. It's basically the same thing as Mercy boosting you, where you deal 30%, except it's incoming. So it's 30% from everybody. I actually think it's more useful than Mercy's damage boost, because it allows your entire team to focus down one target, and it is great for cutting through divas, roadhogs, Reinhardts, that sort of thing. Now, the cool thing about the Discord Orb is that it will stick on the enemy for 3 seconds when it's out of sight. So even if they scoot around the corner and try to get away from you, it will still stick on them for a significant amount of time. And the range is quite long at 40 meters as well. Outside of 40 meters, it'll return, and if they're out of sight for 3 seconds, it'll return. But back onto Zenyatta's DPS. If you headshot somebody with an orb, while they have your Orb of Discord on them, you'll deal 120 damage per hit, meaning that you can very, very quickly cut through tanks. You can just shred through roadhogs, you can shred through divas. Anybody that's discorded that you can get headshots on, DPS heroes, most of them you can kill in 2 hits, they will die very, very quickly. Unfortunately, for me at least, this is my weakness with Zenyatta. I'm usually going for the spammy body shots, and I rarely take my time to go for the true high damage headshots. That is an area where I'm working to improve, but if you can start off with Zenyatta going for headshots, I would highly recommend it. Some things to note is that you cannot discord enemies behind shields. If Reinhardt has a shield up or they're behind Winston's shield, the discord will not go through their shields to hit them, and the discord damage doesn't apply to shields, so it doesn't help you crack Reinhardt's shield any faster, and doesn't help you crack Winston's shield any faster. Zenyatta's other ability, the Orb of Harmony, will heal the target for 30 health per second. It has the same range and out-of-sight time as the Discord Orb, being 40 and 30 respectively, and it's kind of one of the weaker heals in the game. The Orb of Harmony isn't perfect, it's only 30 health per second. Comparatively, Mercy will heal at 60 hit points a second, Lucio will deal 36 when he's amped, and Zenyatta is weaker than that, so it's not great, but it's kind of a stick-it-and-forget-it heal. The Genji that likes to dive, the Soldier that runs off off like an idiot, somebody that's super far away that you could never get close enough to heal as, you know, Lucio or Mercy, you can actually just stick it and forget it as Zenyatta. Zenyatta's really great for that. He's great for when Winston dives and you have that constant orb on him, because he's got a very high degree of survivability on his own. Same thing with D.Va, and they can constantly be regenerating health, and outside of Ana's biotic grenade, there's no real way to cancel it, so as long as your tank survives, you're just kind of extending the time that they can harass the enemies, which is great. What it's not great for is trying to save them when they're getting focus fired. If your Reinhardt is getting pummeled by the enemy team, putting the Orb of Harmony on him probably isn't going to save him just because it doesn't heal enough. However, Zenyatta's ultimate is insane. It'll up the healing to 300 hit points per second, or 10 times the orb. It'll double his personal movement speed so he can zip around the map really fast, and it has a 6-second duration, which means you can heal somebody for 1800 health over the course of your one ultimate, and that's one character. Lord only knows what you can do for the whole team. I guess that times 5. It's really, really extreme and really powerful, and it's a great ultimate. I find it best used to detonate just behind the back lines, run in, heal everybody, and in the last second or two you want to start moving back toward the back line so that you don't get caught out when you are no longer ulting. And of course, you are invulnerable during this ultimate. That's almost goes without saying at this point because people have played the game for so long. You cannot be harmed. I think you can be Roadhog hooked, you can be bonked and touched with shields and stuff, but nothing can actually kill you as long as this ultimate is up, and you can't be frozen or disabled or stunned or anything like that. The cool thing about the Transcendence healing is it can actually out-heal several other character ultimates. It can completely out-heal Soldier's Tactical Visor. It can out-heal Pharah's ult for the most part. If Reinhardt gets a big hammer down and starts smashing your teammate, you can out-heal him. You can out-heal Hanzo to a degree. You can out-heal Reaper to a degree. You can really mitigate a lot of ultimate damage like this. Same kind of thing if you get caught in a Zarya ultimate, or if your team gets frozen by Mei, you can just drop this at the last second, and most of the time you'll save people. What it can't protect them from is burst damage. Junkrat's tire, Tracer's bomb, headshots from Widowmaker, anything that deals a ton of damage all up front, you just can't out-heal it. So right now, I think that Zenyatta is the only viable support DPS hybrid. They really didn't even try to make that many of these characters. Symmetra's in a strange place. I don't even think she should really classify as a support anymore. But Ana, people will say, oh, well, you can snipe with Ana and you can DPS with her and she's got offensive abilities. She's really not that great as a hybrid DPS, whereas Zenyatta really is. He brings heals to the table and he brings raw damage to the table as long as you're getting headshots and or stacking the Discord orb on your targets. It makes it really easy for your team to delete people. You can sit in the back lines and constantly damage pump. It's not uncommon that you can actually get silver or bronze damage as Zenyatta and a fair amount of eliminations, and he just works best at that role. As a matter of fact, he's really the only support DPS hybrid. I think that you actually can carry games as a good Zenyatta. You can keep your teammates alive, you can put that Discord orb on Pharah, and you can punish any enemy tanks that break through the lines. However, speaking of lines, as Zenyatta, you want to always be in the back lines and be well protected because Zenyatta is immobile and he's weak. You don't really have any great escapes, so if you get dived by, Genji or Winston, there's nowhere for you to go. You need to have somebody there to save you, and you want to be kind of far away because when you get up close to people, they pick you off too easily. You just can't withstand that level of damage. So stay in the back lines and kind of pretend you're Soldier 76, but share those orbs around. When it comes to counters, Zenyatta is countered by Widowmaker, Hanzo, Reaper, Winston, and Genji. Widow and Hanzo just because they're snipers. Zen's pretty slow, easy to headshot, you can pick him off. Reaper, Winston, and Genji are all dive characters that deal a fair amount of damage. So whenever they get in your face as Zenyatta, you have no escapes, you often can't survive the damage. In the case of Reaper and Winston, it is possible, yes, you can put the Discord on them, and yes, you can headshot them a lot. Typically, Winston and Reaper will kill you first. Genji can deflect all of that. However, the next question is, when's it a good time to pick Zenyatta? Who does Zenyatta counter? What team does he work well on? Well, Zenyatta counters Roadhog very handily with the Discord Orb and the easy mode headshots. Same kind of thing with D.Va, but a little bit less so, because D.Va's barrier can destroy all of your orbs, but you can make it much easier to kill her. I actually find that Zenyatta counters Bastion very well with both the Discord Orb, and you can Orb Volley peek around the corner and put a lot of damage on him and force him to heal. And surprisingly, another healer. Lucio is often very difficult to pin down. If you don't kill him all in one go. He's going to skate away and get all of his health back. He can be incredibly annoying, and I feel that the Discord orb really helps your team murder Lucio, especially if you sneak in a few orbs. It'll do a ton of damage to him, and he can escape far less often. Guys, that is all for this episode of Overwatch in Depth. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.